Chad Evans in studio with a very good friend of mine, Ryan Beddall. Ryan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on, Chad. I appreciate you.
This is a lot of fun. I think this is a long time in the making, and I'm happy you're able to find some time to sit down and talk with us a little bit. So before we get into Beddall Health and what all that entails, I want to know a little bit about you, where you're from, what's going on in your life, Ryan.
So I've been teaching this is my 27th year teaching, and I spent a good significant amount of time at Mifflinburg High School, and for the last 8 years have been in Selinsgrove, both in the middle school and now in the high school. But about 5.5 years ago, when I was teaching at the middle school, I had a health scare. I was sitting at 309 pounds, and my life changed dramatically when I made the decision that I was going to take control of my life and get healthy.
What was the circumstance? Why did you decide to change?
Well, I think that over a period of time of getting married, and then having a family and raising kids. I think a lot of people can relate that, you really put everything into, you take care of everyone else and you don't take care of yourself. And you end up finding yourself in survival mode, just, one day to the next, like, how are we going to get through it? Running kids around to practices, to games, to tournaments, divide and conquer, one parent going one way, one parent going the other, late dinners, takeout all the time, tired, and just hoping to just get through the week, right? Living for Friday. Well, that was my life for probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And I have had a struggle in my entire adult life, from the time when I started teaching until I had that come to Jesus moment where I probably would yo-yo and know how to take weight off and would put bursts of effort and energy into doing so, and would take 30 to 40 pounds off when I really needed to take 80 to 100 off. And that desire to eat healthy and do the right things and exercise, that would get old, and survival mode would kick in again, and I would gain that weight back. So it was a constant song and dance of lose 30 pounds, gain it back, lose the weight, gain it back. That was my song and dance for, probably close to 20 years, doing that same thing. It's not healthy.
How frustrating was that for you?
I think my only anxieties in life were my health and finances. And I really do think that they sort of play on each other. When you're stressed about money and how you're going to make ends meet, it affects your health in so many different ways. And when your time is limited and you're in survival mode like I was, you can find yourself in a bad way and feeling helpless and lost and just hoping that you don't die.
You told me you felt stuck before. Mm-hmm. Explain that.
Well, when you're living that week to week, you just don't know how to get out of it. It's like a sludge, like you're stepping in mud and you can't lift your foot out of it. And I was just to the point where I at the time, it was in 2018, I decided to join a gym and make another run at it. And I ended up herniating a disc in my back, and probably the exercises that I was doing at 285 wasn't the best for a man who was 285 pounds. So the injury, I wasn't surprised now looking back on it that happened, but that was my paradigm for losing weight, was to try to out exercise the fork, right? Mm-hmm. And so many people try to do that and find themselves in similar situations to what I was in. And that whole year, after I herniated the disc in my back, I taught school because my back was so jacked up and hurt and I was in such pain. I wouldn't wish back pain upon anybody. It is just the worst. I taught a whole school year lying across a table like this, propped up on my elbows, because I couldn't stand for long and I couldn't sit for long, and I would face the table towards my students and prop myself up on my elbows. That school year, my kids had to tie my shoes for me. I was 42 years old and my kids were tying my shoes for me. I was almost to that point, Chad, where I had enough. That stuck.
Wow. So in your period of going up and down, you said the yo-yo effect. What wasn't working?
Well, I think for me, I can only speak for me, but I think there are probably a lot of people who can relate to this, that you are willing to do what is comfortable to you. Okay? What is convenient to you. That's what I did. I tried to do it on my own all the time because I didn't want somebody to hold me accountable for potentially. I wanted the safety and the comfort to be able to peace out on my own if I needed to.
Yeah.
And I played 3 sports in high school, so working out and modifying my diet or finding some way, the newest craze to try to cut calories and make an effort to lose 30, 40 pounds, whatever was convenient. And in my 20s, I don't even know half the stuff I put in my body, just stuff that I heard worked. I mean, I won't mention any product names, but if you're in your 40s, you know some of those weight loss products that you were putting in, praying, hoping that it would work for you. Well, I did that, and I swear I'm lucky I didn't have a heart attack, like with some of the stuff I was putting in my system without even really knowing what I was doing, just praying and hoping that it finally would change for me. And it didn't. It didn't. So that was a big thing. Like, I could empathize with people right now who are choosing to take other measures that are available, that are popular right now to help them lose weight. I empathize with that 100% because I would have done the same thing if they were around 5 years ago. I mean, they were, but they're not as popular and marketed now as they are. I would have done that 100%. And more than likely, if I wouldn't have gotten the guidance that I received in my journey, I probably would have ended up in a worse spot than where I started after not using those products anymore.
Well, you look like $1 million today.
Thank you.
What worked?
Well, I want to take a step back and tell you like what happened.
Okay.
Before that. So it was in the summer of 2019 when I had gone through all the back stuff, and I was just starting to get better in my back. The gel was reforming around my disc, so I wasn't having as much pain. And I was going to a funeral for my great aunt in Danville, and not any of my suits fit me. And I had suits for different levels of my sizes in my adult life, and not even my fat suit, pardon my expression, fit me. And I didn't have one to wear. And I remember getting in the car with my dad to go to the funeral, and he's like, "Where's your suit?" And I said, "I don't have one that fits." And then at the funeral, I had an aunt who pulled me aside at the reception afterward, and like she had tears in her eyes. She's like, "You're scaring me.
Oh.
You're scaring me." She's like, "You need to do something, or you're going to end up like your uncle." I had an uncle who died of a heart attack at 43. I'm 44, and I was 43 years old at the time. And that was my biggest fear. Like, I had 2 teenage kids at home,
You can't do it.
and she didn't need to tell me that. I knew, but she didn't tell me that to be mean, like, "Oh, you're fat." Like, she did, because she said that to me because she cares about me. And she's like, "I have a friend who's helping people get healthy. She struggled with weight and was active like you are and tried to exercise her weight off. She was almost getting ready to get gastric bypass surgery herself when she found this, and she's helping a lot of people. You should call her." And I sort of like, I didn't know I didn't even ask what it was that her friend was doing. And I sort of gave her like, "Yeah, maybe I will," but I really hadn't thought about it again until about a week after this incident. and that confrontation when I was lying in bed. It was before the Sunday night before the second week of school. And my blood pressure, I was watching the channel 16, 11 o'clock news on a Sunday night with my wife. And I felt my blood pressure was high. And I've been on blood pressure meds for family and my weight since I was 25 years old. I was 43. And I felt it high. Usually I know when it feels high because usually it's in school when kids aren't cooperating. And I tested myself because I have a tester and it read 185 over 92. And I'm like, that can't be right. The batteries on this must be off. So I had my wife test herself and it was completely normal. So I knew it wasn't the batteries, it was me. So I tried to breathe it out and do like breathing exercise. It just kept going up. And I went against me being stubborn. Like stubborn males don't want to go to the doctor or the hospital. But I just kept thinking about my uncle. And I'm like, we have to go to the hospital. And I called my dad and had them come over to the house, and we went. And when we got to the hospital, my blood pressure was 212 over 106. And that was a hypertension emergency, I guess they call it, hypertensive emergency. And there was a huge line. We skipped to the front of the line, and I was back in a room with an IV in me in like 5 minutes. And they put me on medication to bring my blood pressure down, and tests all night. Obviously, I didn't go to school the next day, and I went and saw my buddy who's my primary care physician the next day after they released me. They found out it was just a freak thing that happened when my blood pressure spiked. But my doctor, who's a friend of mine, said, you more than likely would have had a stroke last night if you didn't go to the hospital, because they needed to bring that down. And he's like, we've been messing around for 20 years with your weight. You need to do something or you're not going to be here for your kids. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I will. And I went home from the doctor that day, and I called my aunt and said, I'll take your friend's number. I had no idea, Chad, what I was calling about. But I got my now coach's number and called her that night and had the initial consultation and call. And the program that I agreed to do, knew nothing about it. I was just ready, and it saved my life. I started Optavia on September 9th, 2019, and on April 9th, 2020, I hit my goal of being underneath my high school weight. I lost 106 pounds in 8 months to the day that I started, and got off 5 medications, and it changed my life. And I decided probably 2 months into my journey, I sort of was nudged to become a coach and guide other folks through the process. That was insane, incredible accountability for me in my health journey to become a coach. And I've guided over 360 people personally, and over 1,300 people now have made the decision to get healthy because I did. And that's a beautiful thing, and it drives me every day to help people do the same thing that I have been able to do, which is to stop letting myself down and accepting less than what I'm capable of, because my kids and my students and my wife and my friends and my coworkers, they all get such a better version of me now because I took control of my health.
Is it the accountability to have the coach to help you, guide you along on this journey?
Well, it starts with that for sure, because the coach gives you the structure of, and they teach you the program, and they walk, and I do the same thing now. I teach them. I hold their hand figuratively and walk them through the process. I give them empathetic accountability and support. So I'm not a drill sergeant. I've been there, so I can relate. When we have the initial conversation, I don't just try to sign people up. I try to dig in and find, okay, what is your reason why? Why do you need this? What do you need? I try to figure out what their problems are and why they need to solve them. And then I see if I can find, if I have a solution to potentially help them do that. For me, I didn't want to be a framed photo at my kids' weddings. Mm-hmm. Whenever I was having a bad day, I thought, like when I felt like letting myself down, and going to Sheetz and getting a foot-long hoagie and a bag of Middlesworth chips and a soda, mm-hmm. I would think about my kids, mm-hmm. and I would think about being a framed photo at their mm-hmm. wedding and graduations and all that stuff. When your reason why is strong enough, the how becomes less significant. But to your question about the coach, every journey has complications and challenges, and you need somebody to help you get you over the hump. So she taught me initially, and I gave me confidence that I can do this. And then when I hit roadblocks and resistance along the way, she helped me through them. Whereas before, when I tried to do things on my own, I would have hit a wall and I would have put my head between my legs and crawled back to where I came from.
Like most people would do.
Like most people would do. And it took having a coach to help me through that wall. So I got to the other side for the first time and actually finished something for the first time. That one supreme effort that I was never able to do, I was able to do because I had the guidance and support of a coach.
What was that experience like from September of 2019 to April 2020, where you lost over 100 pounds and you got back down to your high school weight, under your high school weight? Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that process, because it's not just about losing weight, but it's also mental health.
Sure. So there's a lot of levels to that.
Sure.
So one thing that was really important was the accountability. Heidi made me, she said, you're going to go into school tomorrow and you're going to tell all your students that you're losing 100 pounds this school year. I'm like, okay. And she's like, then you're going to at lunch tell all your coworkers that you're losing 100 pounds this school year. And then after school, you're going to tell your football team, I was the head junior high football coach, you're going to tell them that you're losing 100 pounds this school year. And then you're going to go and send a text message to all your aunts and uncles and cousins. She's like, 95% of the people are going to be all in supporting you and uplifting you, and it will give you an added layer of accountability, huge layer of accountability. And there might be some people who question how you're doing it, and that's okay too, because that will motivate you as well. Spot on. More than 95% of the people. And now, since I put it out there, that holds my feet to the fire a little bit. So that was one thing that I needed too, is you needed as much accountability as possible for the support and to keep you from, okay, a lot of people know I don't want to let myself down.
Keep you on the tracks.
Correct. But what you said about how this is, affects the mental health as well. You start feeling better. You start believing in yourself. You start honoring promises to yourself on a daily basis, little things that you weren't able to do before. You gain self-worth and self-confidence by honoring promises day in and day out consistently. You can't do that without it positively affecting your mental health and giving you the belief that you could be better. You could be a better dad. You could be a better employee. You could be a better whatever you do. And, it's definitely interconnected. It's all connected together. So as I started feeling better, I started expecting more of myself. I had a lot of financial problems, and I'll be very transparent, and I'm not proud to admit this, but my financial stress, I couldn't handle it. With my blood pressure, I pushed our financials off of my wife, and she took care of it as best as she could. Mm-hmm. I was a chicken poop. I ran away from it. But when I started feeling better, I said, hey, I could help you with that. Let's do that together. Let's take care of it. Yep. And we did. So within a point, I was one decision away from attacking both the things that I stressed about for 20 plus years. The two big worries in my life, I don't want to say that they're not worries. I still work on my health and my finances regularly, daily, but it doesn't keep me up at night anymore because I know I'm in control, and it started with making the decision to feel my best and get healthy.
Unbelievable. A lot of people look for a magic potion when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Sure.
And
I did.
Yeah. And there's a lot of it out there. Magic potion where you don't even have to work out. You could lose 80 pounds in a day. You know, what was the experience like working with this company that you found through your aunt? So what's the method to their madness?
Sure. So they teach the dietary component to Optavia was developed at Johns Hopkins. So that name gives gave me confidence in the credibility of the dietary component of the program. That the structure of it with my busy life made it easy to follow and wasn't like too much work for me because I was coaching 2 sports. I was living a very busy lifestyle, and the structure made it easy. I don't want to say easy, simple. Simple is a better word than easy because it wasn't always easy, but it was simple. The accountability and support of the coach, the educational component to learn new habits and instill little micro habits in my day that I do consistently and develop confidence in them and make them more permanent. And, you know, that's personal growth. There's an amazing community of people that we're all doing this together. What I found that's different about the Optavia community than any of the other magic potions is the community. This is a relational venture. It is not a transactional one. So you have a community of people who care about each other and want to see each other succeed. In a world that's win-lose, this is a community that's all win-win. And the people who have maybe quote unquote tried the program came in maybe at a time when they weren't truly ready to commit like me, and they did the diet, but they didn't allow themselves to be coached. They didn't get engaged in the community, and they didn't partake in any of the learning opportunities, which is really necessary to have the long-term success.
I'm going to read this phrase that you told me about, and I want to know your explanation. It says, "Don't take what you get, create what you want." When I reached my goal and realized that I was 8 months away from, a brand new life, I really was I heard a coach say that on a Zoom once: don't take what you get, create what you want. For the longest time, I was taking what I was getting. I was taking the easy way out. I was hoping to make it to retirement to be able to go to spring training baseball games. I was hoping that I would be able to enjoy some travel in my retirement. I was hoping that I would be able to pay for my kids' college. Mm-hmm. I was hoping to not live in my starter home forever. Well, if you don't have a plan to make it happen, you're just going to take what you get. You create what you want when you feel your best. So it is my mission to help people feel better so they get to where I am. I want them to have bigger dreams, bigger aspirations, and not just rely on hope. In your decision to create Beddall Health, talk a little bit about why you decided to put forth your efforts to create Beddall Health and help other people along the way.
Sure. I mean, it is my mission, my purpose to help as many people as I possibly can, and also to look for partners, for people who are like me that I can train to do this as well. Before, like I mentioned earlier, my only dream was to retire from teaching and go to spring training baseball games and maybe live to be a grandfather and get to see my grandkids play sports and stuff. It was all about hope, not about manifesting, and anything could happen, right? But I'm doing everything in my power to have so much more than that. So I created Beddall Health, and I utilize Optavia as one of the, as the main driver in helping as many people achieve the same thing. I'm paying it forward. It is a labor of love and of service to others. And I just want to create I'm just filled with purpose. I can't imagine retiring now. I can't imagine stopping doing this. Like, a life without purpose and is not a life worth living to me. So I'm just driven to help as many people feel as good as I feel.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I don't want to retire either. You're an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
We don't retire.
No, if you love what you're doing, it's not work, right? It's not work.
It's true. It's true. What else do you want to add? Do you want to say anything in closing? I
like, you know, I want to hit again that I was 8 months away from having a completely different life. But it is all about timing, and it is all about getting out of your comfort zone and really honing in on the reason why you want to accomplish that. If you don't understand why you're doing it, you're going to quit on yourself. So when I work with people, I have the initial conversation. I'm not trying to convince them to do this. I need to hear their reason why. I need to know that they're ready. And I won't sign somebody up and coach them unless I can get to that point. So it's not a sell at all cost type of thing. Like, I don't want them to have a bad experience. I want to help people who are ready to be helped. So if you're listening and you've just had enough, I will care about you. I will listen to you, and I'll empathetically walk with you to help you change your life.
Ryan Beddall in studio today, and I'm looking forward to more episodes. We might have some people that you have helped out along the way talking about their journey.
I would love that. That'd be great.
Thanks for joining us today, Ryan.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Chad. Appreciate you.